Where would you go if you could travel back in time? Probably not relive every outing or human interaction from just the past few days, but that's exactly what it means to contact trace.
Before you hit the roads, 1, make sure that the tires are well aired up. 2, have plenty of windshield wiper fluids just in case you need to defrost that windshield. Number 3 is very important. Make sure you have a full tank of gas.
Just wash your hands when handling food or objects other people have come into contact with.
But if you're high risk or feeling anxious, a little extra disinfecting doesn't hurt as long as you do it properly. And remember that the main way the virus is transmitted is person to person, because even Lysol is less effective when we're standing too close to each other. Now, because of Senate Bill 1863, election authorities are required to send out vote-by-mail applications for the 2020 general election.
Poles like this just snapped like twigs. We have trees pulled out of the ground like weeds, and then over here at the end of the street, as you can see, one of these also snapped going across the street, blocking people in their home right there, kind of like what Dorian did in the Bahamas, where it went over the Bahamas and just sat there for a long time, because again, we're talking about a slow moving storm. That could be the same thing here.
It is August 29th, so the K word would have come up anyway. This very day, 16 years ago, Hurricane Katrina made landfall. Now today, with all eyes on Ida, questions over how the two compare.
It's a pretty quiet scene right now, but there is a pretty crazy story to tell here I'm going to walk you through. Within the past couple hours, police cleared up more than 40 shell casings from the street I'm standing on here. Some of those bullets going into this car that was just parked on the street. You can see some of those bullet holes just at the bottom of that car there, even going into a tire, deflating it. But police say the target was this apartment right here, hit for the second night in a row.
Herd immunity. That's when enough people are immune to a disease that it no longer causes mass outbreaks, because fewer people are at risk of catching and spreading it.
Hey Alexa, open the front door.
Front door doesn't support that.
That's actually a good thing. That's because otherwise, anyone could just walk right up, shout a command through the walls, and let themselves in.
I want to share with you a tweet, though, that Mayor Q posted just a few minutes ago. He says, "Our greatest challenges remain even this morning in our community." He says, "My thoughts are with the families and friends of those whose lives were lost or impacted by last night's mass shooting." He says he's thankful security appears to have kept the situation from getting worse.
57 inches long. And the thing is, it's one of a series of potholes that we have been doing our best to alert drivers to as they're heading down this way, maybe trying to get on the highway, make their way about their day. But we haven't been able to stop the pop, pop, pop sounds of those tires.
The St. Louis Wheel is the biggest thing to happen to this town in a while. 200 feet in the air to be exact. That's 49 feet taller than the Statue of Liberty. It's only a third the height of the arch, which stands at 630 feet, but this is a totally different view of the Lou.
They actually did have to respond to 2 firefighters who fell through the floor of the building behind me here. You can kind of see it behind that fire truck. It is essentially a large barn structure that is part of a house that's here just along North St. Peter's Parkway. Dan Hackman's mom lives in that house. Dan, how's your mom doing this morning?
Nobody likes getting rejected, and your ballot doesn't either, but it happens. Here's some things to double check on your ballot to make sure it's able to be counted properly. Get it in on time. One of the main reasons ballots can't be counted is that they arrive too late. In Missouri, send it back no later than the last week of October, so it arrives by Election Day. In Illinois, the ballot has to be postmarked by Election Day and received by the 17th. But just to be safe, don't delay. Make sure you sign the return envelope. This is another major reason why ballots are rejected. And you know when you have to sign the pad at the grocery store and you just scribble something while trying not to touch the stylus too much? Yeah, don't use that signature. Use the signature you would for any other legal document, like your registration. When they compare the ballot to your records, you don't want judges to question if you're really the one who sent it in. And in Missouri, this signature will likely need to happen in front of a notary. Unless you're voting by mail due to one of these excuses, your ballot needs to be notarized or it's invalid. What about using a funky colored pen or getting a smudge on the page that means the scanner can't read it? St. Louis County's Democratic Director of Elections says try to avoid that, but he says they'll still process your vote.
It is more labor intensive for us. It makes it a little more time consuming, but your ballot is still going to count.
Illinois election authorities are required to call and let voters know within 2 days of their ballot getting rejected. But Missouri doesn't have that kind of law, so you might never know if your ballot gets rejected. So the best course of action? When you get your ballot, take your time to fill it out carefully, then send it back as quickly as possible. With your no to vote, I'm Abby Llorico, 5 on your side.
Hey, you, sitting on the couch right now. Are you having a hard time getting over the hump? Well, coming up, I will introduce you to a workout instructor who's going to absolutely destroy all of your excuses for skipping your morning workout. So where I'm standing right now, I wouldn't even be able to drive the car here really just a couple hours ago. In fact, the steel plant, which is of course the big business here in Granite City, had to shut down temporarily because of the flooding.
Acknowledging what happened here and memorializing those whose lives were exploited for show. But for now, until something more permanent, the memorial is a living one.
Another piece of some kind of mangled maybe metal or siding we can see right back up there. But again, we have to be very careful with where we're walking because one of the major reports that we were hearing first responders talking about on the scanners was downed power line.
Roads seem to be mostly okay, but those slippery spots like what you were talking about are mostly what you're going to see on the side of the road, as in the sidewalks or even in front of your house, your sidewalks and your driveway. So if you're planning on getting your morning workout with a little ice scraping, here's kind of what you can expect on the sidewalks as of this morning. It's actually still pretty slick in a lot of these parts that maybe weren't treated with salt. I'm having a hard time getting actually through to pavement right here. It's still pretty slippery, but then other parts that may have been treated with a little more salt or may have been walked on a little bit more, the ice is coming up a little bit more easily. So just keep all of that in mind. No matter what you do, you're going to want to take some small steps.
You can make waves by jumping right in,
When I was like 4, I told my mom I wanted to swim.
like 13-year-old Anna Grace Gunther does every day on the fast swim team in Maplewood.
Make it look good. There are just certain cuts, certain meets that are considered an elite level for kids. She has, I think, not only one, she has like 4 of those. She's pretty good. Ready, and yep.
You can make bigger waves
Use the underwater, use the turn.
with a little push
He gives a lot of good advice on freestyle. That's how I've gotten a lot better at freestyle.
from a good coach
Yes, kick through that breath.
like Jordan Harris,
Last thing we'll do before warm down here.
He's been to the Olympics.
representing his home country, the Marshall Islands, in the last 2 summer games.
I still can't figure out how to describe my experiences.
But he brings them with him to each morning practice.
See if we can get under a second. You know, that's the first step, getting a trial qualifier, then getting a kid on the Olympic team, and then we'll go from there.
He'll talk to them about it if they ask, but the coaching is about his swimmers, and I think that's really important.
Sometimes the dream is far away.
I really just try to get better. I want to swim D1 in college and maybe the Olympics.
I think it shows them that it's possible. If Coach Jordan could do it,
Sometimes
that means it's possible.
it's just on the edge of the pool.
To me, it's a dream, being able to come out here, out in the sunshine, changing kids' lives, sharing my stories, sharing my experiences, hearing their stories.
It's really fun.
Even the waves are clapping. Abby Llorico, 5 on your side.